Yesterday, a new wave of protests ignited on the streets of Hong Kong. These latest protests sparked by two laws China is trying to force on the city. China wants to make it illegal to disrespect the mainland Chinese anthem in Hong Kong, essentially stripping Hong Kongers of their fundamental right to free speech.
What planet is Avi Yemini truly on? You know, he does good for what he does good for, reports various, issues in different countries, but is he oblivious that this is actually happening worldwide? This isn't just in China, where he's reporting from. This is happening worldwide. It's either he knows that there's a deep state agenda that's occurring right now, right under his nose, or he's fucking blind and refuses to talk about it. Because I've noticed with some of these truthers, they just don't want to talk about it. He's talking here about what's happening there, and he's disgusting what's happening over there. It truly is. But he's saying it as though it's only happening in one country. This is happening on worldwide, on a global scale. Censorship of freedom of speech is on full-scale attack right now. They're removing everything to do with anything that you say. It's happening deep state right here now in the UK. You've only got to look at your YouTube, for example. Everyone's being censored. Algorithms is removing things. Your comments are being tampered with. Your subscribers are being tampered with. Your videos are being removed. And worse than that, people's channels are being removed. And Avi Yemini talks about it's just happening in one country. Your freedom of your voice being removed, what he talks about. It's happening here, Avi, in the UK.
We strongly disagree to that law because we should respect any person who wants to sing that song or not to sing that song or even yell at that song, because Hong Kong people have the rights of freedom of speech.
And that's not enough. Beijing also plans to impose security legislation on Hong Kong, which would destroy the city's last bit of autonomy.
Our last bit of autonomy, as you put it, Avi, is also the internet in the UK. And the deep state establishment know this. This is why they're culling the internet like crazy and censoring everybody who opposes what their agenda is. They only want you to follow one straight line narrative, which is their narrative. And that's it. Anyone who opposes the agenda, you're taken down. That is when you're driven into a Nazi state, which is what the UK is fast becoming. They followed suit just like China. Soon after they became in lockdown, I think it was even reported on that our government said China have got it right. So soon after that, we became in lockdown. But I don't think they absolutely bounced off China. It was already part of the agenda game to put the whole world, or most of the world, in a lockdown on the back end of this coronavirus staged event, which you can understand was staged if you can take the time and have the brains and intelligence to look up Event 201, a global pandemic exercise.
Actually, that one is more terrifying because no matter what did you do, he can use that to accuse you anything, and you might just disappear.
Did you hear that, folks? And you might just disappear. In other words, the state don't give a shit about you. You oppose the state. This is what's happening in China. This is what happened during lockdown. Remember the whistleblower that was started exposed this so many months and was trying to expose it in Wuhan, who later became so-called ill in an hospital bed, and they said he contracted corona and died. I don't believe he died. I believe he was murdered because he was a whistleblower. If they could take you off the street for opposing like they are doing now on the streets here, and he's just said, this young chap, take you away and no one will know about you again and disappear? Do you honestly think they wanted him to survive for whistleblowing, lying in a hospital bed? No. All you UK people who are just taking all this, swallowing it, hook, line and sinker, this coronavirus, think everything's normal. Oh, I'm alright because nothing's affecting me. That's what you think, you fools. We're not far behind China. They seem to be the superpower of ruling the mindset of what other countries want their country to become. And we will soon become just like China. So I suggest you all start thinking and pulling your fingers out of your arse and realising what is really going down, because this is what soon could become to the UK. We've seen things happening already on the streets with the police, where they can, take you somewhere to, it can happen. You think fucking some of what happened in fucking Nazi Germany can't re-happen again. You think again, it can happen.
To make matters worse, police are using COVID-19 as an excuse to outlaw protesting.
Avi Yemini talks here like it's by sheer accident that they're using COVID-19 as an excuse to outlaw protest. This is no accident here, Avi. This is what baffles me. I mean, listening to him saying all this, I think he's a bit confused about what's really going on here, this Avi Yemini, or he's just absolutely blind or refuses to mention true deep state. This is no accident here, Avi Yemini. This is all by design. It's part of the NWO. The freedom of speech removement of every country on the fucking planet to outlaw protest. What does he think the social distancing malarkey and all this business is going to be about? While they're setting up the New World Order agenda. It's a win-win for the globalists to keep us all apart. There's your protest gone out of the window. Keep everyone apart. Everyone's feared to death of getting together, and it's also turning everybody enemies against each other. So it's causing divide in society. Pointing the finger at each other if you don't comply, if you're one of the ones that oppose, which is me. I'm being branded in society for opposing this utter fucking garbage. I don't know, it looks like Avi's sort of half asleep here.
The truth is, Hong Kong has well and truly beat COVID-19 with a mere 1,067 cases in total and only 4 deaths since the first case back in January. That means more protesters have died in suspicious circumstances in that same.
I agree totally that most would have died in suspicious circumstances because China do not give a shit about their own people. Taking them off, they've already got camps established over there, like you just saw earlier on, the rounding them up on buses, and you can be, like that young chap mentioned, you can be taken off somewhere and never seen again. And this is what's happened since China went in lockdown. Many people have gone and not been seen again. There was reports of doctors and whistleblowers not being seen, and people concerned for their welfare. So I do agree with that, but I think Avi's believing this coronavirus, that it actually exists, and I might be wrong myself, but my personal opinion is that I believe that this coronavirus is being used as an excuse to implement the New World Order and deep state agendas, which has been spoke about with the Agenda 2020 and Agenda 30. So it's been delayed, and it will be established, likely, if the people don't wake up, that is, by 2030. Another 10 years we've got to save our arses and save the planet, because if we don't, just by doing nothing, all the future generations and the children of tomorrow are going to be in the demise of living in a totalitarian state, thanks to us doing absolutely nothing.
Same time.
The government, they are just saying because of the virus, they are not allow people to stay together. Actually, Hong Kong is safe now. I'm talking about the virus, but they still trying to not allow us to organize together.
This is exactly what I'm noticing, which is the same as which that Chinese girl just mentioned. She feels they're over the coronavirus disease itself, and yet the martial law type state is still being imposed upon them, which is happening exactly the same here in the UK. I've got a video of which I've already uploaded for Chris Whitty telling you that there's less than 1% chance of the British population catching this virus, and telling you basically there's no problem with it, and if you do get it, highly unlikely you'll die from it, and you might end up in bed for a couple of days, and in his own words, virtually like you've just had a common cold and you might be bad for a couple of days in bed. Here's the clip I'll show you again now here.
On the second one, certainly I have tried, and Patrick has tried right from the beginning, to balance two things. The seriousness of this virus as an epidemic, and it clearly is a very serious epidemic.
No, Chris Whitty, it clearly isn't, and you're just about to state that in this video.
But equally, the fact that actually the great majority of people will not die from this. And I'll just repeat something I said right at the beginning, because I think it's worth reinforcing. Most people, well, a significant proportion of people will not get this virus at all. Most people, well, a significant proportion of people will not get this virus at all. Most people, well, a significant proportion of people will not get this virus at all.
Most people, well, a significant proportion of people will not get this virus at all.
If a significant amount of people, if people at all, will get any symptoms, then why, you have to ask yourself the question, are we implementing all these stupid social distancing rules even after the lockdown? You've only got to see this video to understand that it's got this coronavirus has now gone beyond what it's got nothing to do with the virus now. It's about implementing the draconian state. It's going beyond what the virus is about now. It's a whole different ball game, and in this video proves that. Sorry that I've gone off on a bit of from the China thing, but it's based on what that girl had said, what I'd shown just before, which is happening over there, that she's mentioned that the basically out of the virus stages, and the system is still implementing these distancing laws, and it's happening exactly the same here, which is why I'm just showing you this clip, which is exactly the same. And it's got, like I said, it's just going beyond the virus now. It's about implementing the laws even after the lockdown.
At any point in the epidemic, which is going to go on for a long period of time. Of those who do, some of them will get the virus without even knowing it. They will have the virus with no symptoms at all, asymptomatic carriage, and we know that happens. Of those who get symptoms, the great majority, probably 80%, will have a mild or moderate disease. Might be bad enough for them to have to go to bed for a few days, not bad enough for them to have to go to the doctor.
Yes, you heard that right there, folks. You heard that right there. You might have to go to bed for a couple of days. Basically what he's saying is you're suffering from a cold. Now can you believe that? That all this has been justified then, has it? Total lockdown of the UK based on the common cold, which he is admitting to right here. I uploaded this video a week or two ago. I never actually said anything about it, but I've added it into this video, which you're talking about Avi Yemini, and I've got on a bit of a roll with this one. But you know, how in God's name can you justify lockdown of a country, the shutdown of the economy, people's businesses being broke, some may never return, And people, and I'm going to say, which is one of the worst things what's happened, and it has happened, many people might not be saying it, people have committed suicide. And he is stood there telling you, you might have to go to bed for a couple of days. And people have fucking killed themselves for this. Can you fucking believe it? This takes the utter fucking piss.
An unfortunate minority will have to go as far as hospital, but the majority of those will just need oxygen and will then leave hospital. And then a minority of those will end up having to go to severe and critical care, and some of those, sadly, will die. But that's a minority. It's 1% or possibly even less than 1% overall. And even in the highest risk group, this is significantly less than 20%, i.e. the great majority of people, even the very highest groups, if they catch this virus, will not die. People, even the very highest groups, if they catch this virus, will not die. People, even the very highest groups, if they catch this virus, will not die.
And that, folks, is the reason why the virus is not your threat right now. The threat is the deep state agenda which is being unrolled out, and that's what it's focusing on right now, regardless of when we come out of this lockdown. As you can clearly see by what I've pointed out here with this talk that he's just said, it's beyond the virus itself. It's about implementing the social distancing measures to try and convert the public mind's way of thinking, and the first people to start with is the children. You want to change the perception of the public mind's of way of thinking, what better place to start with the innocent children? Start with them. You want to change the future mind? Change it through the kids. That's what they're doing. Said in a previous video, shame on you all you parents, if you want to send your kids to be subjected to this child abuse and child neglect in schools, go ahead, but I totally disagree with it. You've just heard it there, what he says. It's basically 0 chances of dying from this, which he said. And I've known it all along, but I've put this on here and was talking about it, and I've gotten, like I say, I've gotten on a bit of a roll talking about it. Didn't mean to, but this is how you get sometimes when you're making videos. I'll finish off with the rest of the clip of what Avi Yemini was talking about. Didn't mean implement this into here, but it's just the way it's gone.
Imagine that. China is using their virus to take control of Hong Kong.
How Avi says that. Imagine that. Well, we've gone past the imaginary stage over 2 months ago, Avi. We don't have to imagine it. We've lived through it. Does he think this is just happening there? This is here in the UK. There's no imagination going on. Same as what's going on there has happened here. We're living through it. Also, using the virus as the perfect tool to enslave their own people. Fear the living crap out of them, and it keeps them in line like sheep. And that's exactly what's happening, and that's what's gone on.
And no one was spared. Police went in guns blazing, firing rubber bullets and pepper spray, stopping, searching and arresting anybody and everybody, loading them onto buses and taking them away. Many of them we will not see again.
Yep, so all you brain deads out there who are suckering all this up, thinking you're not affected by none of it, and you're blind, you need wake up fast, because this can easily start happening in the UK. Could be just down the road, this, in months or years, but it likely can be happening, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Once they establish what they want, you oppose the state, you come in with us. It's as simple as that.
So to help ensure that their sacrifice in Hong Kong yesterday isn't for nothing, please share with the world what China is up to while the rest of us are busy combating their virus.
The Chinese Communist Party is the evil of Hong Kong.
Hong Kong people really need your help. I think that a lot of innocent lives have already been gone. Police brutality, everything. the people are broken now. So we need your help, please.
Please support us, and we need the power from the world, please.
Just like what Churchill said, like we shall defend our homeland, whatever the cost may be. So we will afraid, of course, as human, we are afraid of like losing our life, but there are some more value behind our life. So I guess we will fight for it until the day we die.
Sadly, that help is not going to come, because every country has enrolled into the same deep state agenda, and they all want to establish the same thing, which is the New World Order. So it's not going to come for them, just like it isn't going to come for us. We've got an agenda unfolding right now in the UK. Is another country going to come and save us from this dictatorial state that we're being forced to endure? No, it's not going to come. You can understand the Chinese desperation, and I can imagine it's a lot worse there than it is in the UK. It's absolutely atrocious and appalling what these people have been living in for far longer. But we're not far behind them, and it's happening here, and it will be happening very soon if the people don't wake up. When you've got all the countries following the same suit for the same goals, on the same page of the same agendas, you ain't going to get a country stepping up to the plate to rescue another country, are you? I've heard some blippings in this video. I'm going to have to try to sort my mic out, try to find out what it is, because it is annoying, and I can imagine for people watching the video hearing this pinging coming through the speakings, but I don't know what it is, so I'll try and sort it out. So, but I do apologise for that. Anyone who watches the video and leaves a comment, thanks a lot for that. Cheers.